How can marketers create interest in a company after they made a potential prospect aware of a product? Is there a certain way someone should go about?
So I mentioned a little bit earlier, as far as marketers, it's so important to sit with your AEs, your BDRs, and see what the questions are coming at. What are the challenges? What are these potential customers and clients facing? So that as marketers, you can fully understand those challenges and address those. That's a genuine conversation.
Yep.
Taking a guess at what might be the problem, that's where you kind of end up in that, take a left turn when you should have taken a right.
Hi, Terry. How are
Hello,
you?
how are you?
Good. Thanks for joining.
Oh, such a pleasure. Well, thank you so much for inviting me. And thanks for sending over the questions. We can go through as you would like. I'm happy to answer those. And I think it's great that Kat has you on board. I think that's huge. Just what you sent over, I was impressed. So yeah, happy to help any way that I can. So whenever you're ready.
Awesome. Much appreciated. So let's just go through the questions one by
Okay.
one. All right.
All
So
right.
with a education and design, what made you want to get into marketing in the first place?
Sure, absolutely. So I started out in graphic design and ultimately was going in the direction of agency, wanted to be a part of that world. And then B2B caught my eye eventually. And I said, you know what? This is fun. I like this. So I jumped in, of course, career progression wise, no journey is, a linear path. So B2B it is, and headed in that direction and have been there ever since.
Yes, and then, segueing into that with the B2B experience, you have a
Mhm.
lot of experience in B2B marketing. How important, in your opinion, is social proof when it comes to B2B marketing, and what's the best way for a company to show social proof to their prospective audience or clients? Would it be through case studies, online reviews, video testimonials?
So a couple of things there. Depends upon the company, the industry, and the client base. So remembering that these days, it's very important to build that trust and those relationships. Going back to the basics, quite honestly, there. And through with social proof, depending upon the channels, it's very important for marketers to take a look at where their potential clients are having those conversations. So, what may work for one particular company or industry may not work for another. So, that awareness is very important. I know that as far as from a sales perspective, it's very important for marketers to literally sit in on some of the calls
Mhm.
and those demos and get a solid idea of the needs of customers and what they're looking at. And then go back and say, okay, how can we help solve those? That's pretty fundamental, but it's interesting to me how many folks kind of skip that step, and
Mhm.
that will also help answer the social selling question as well.
Yeah, and it's always with the importance of knowing your audience. It's not about what I as a marketer want to push. It's kind of like what do they actually want to consume, and that's where the analytics come in. That's what I use a lot when I send out my monthly newsletters, where I put all the blog posts in, and I see who clicks on what and what is an area of interest and what I should hone into more. I'm big on social proof. I like to highlight and spotlight clients, but I also love to highlight our amazing employees. So I've been
Yes.
doing a lot of employee spotlights and anniversary posts, but my audience is not too keen on those. I've noticed they're not clicking on them as much as I would hope they would. So I will have to pivot a bit and do more thought leadership stuff that they're more interested in. So going
I think
forward.
I mean, I think that that's great that you are that, because that also helps, something that we did. Oh, I think it was a part of, we actually highlighted, when we sent out newsletters, we actually highlighted one of the employees per month, so that our customers got to know who we are, and that especially the customer success team. I mean, they are frontline and center as far as dealing with a client on a daily basis, and that is a huge, huge relationship builder. And to your point, also as a marketing leader, so this is twofold, right? For you, in my opinion, are doing the right thing. Great marketing leaders will always elevate their team members, always keeping that in mind. But yes, absolutely, allowing the or giving the opportunity to a customer or client to get to know, who they are actually conversing with, and a little bit more, that's huge, because it's one, it comes down to it. We talked about it, relationships, trust, relationships is what it comes down to, for sure.
Yeah, even in B2B marketing, people don't buy from faceless companies, right? They do
Right.
business with people. And I'm actually excited today. I'm publishing the employee spotlight for the head of customer success. So
Yay!
that'll be fun.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. That's
So
fantastic. Good
yes,
job.
thank you. But let's dive into thought leadership, right?
Sure.
So the term thought leadership coined in 1994 by Joel Kurtzman during his tenure as a business magazine, but I see that everywhere right now, right? People calling themselves thought leaders. How important is it for B2B marketers to establish themselves as thought leaders, and how does one do it? Is it through webinars? Is it through online courses, presenting at industry events, or just creating content on LinkedIn?
Well, it's great. So thought leadership, or influencer marketing, has come a long way, quite honestly. And it's not just a few select folks out there. Of course, you have your folks who have been out there a while and are known. But then if you dig a little deeper, there are some folks who are just phenomenal, and they may not have tons of books out yet, but to dig a little deeper and they're in those conversations, that is very important. So in terms of influencer marketing, even someone who is maybe an individual B2B marketer can also jump into the conversation, and as long as they're consistent in those conversations and folks are seeing them, whether depending upon the channel or channels that they are conversing on, that is very helpful, because it builds, once again, trust, that relationship. And they're having conversations with other marketers. That's huge.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. And building that network as well is very important. That I've noticed as part of my interview series. I make a lot of connections now, meet a lot of people, and those people introduce me to other leaders that I haven't heard of. So very important, I think. Like I said earlier, people do business with people, not faceless companies. Should businesses or business leaders encourage their employees to become LinkedIn creators and create awareness about a company on their personal profile page?
So very, very good question. I'm going to take a look at that in a couple of ways, from the company side and then from the employee side. From the company side, having that conversation with employees is important, so that those expectations are set. But it's also on the candidate, when they're interviewing with a company, to ask that question.
Yeah.
What are the expectations there, so that neither side is broadsided, and it's, an open conversation at that point. So each side is aware.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. You want to maintain brand voice and consistency, and don't have somebody go rogue and put the company in a bad spot or in a bad light.
Mhm.
But you also don't want to pressure somebody who doesn't feel comfortable being out there in the open on LinkedIn to talk about your company, right? So it has to be a mutually agreed arrangement.
Effort. Yeah, yeah,
Exactly,
absolutely, Chris.
exactly. I know you have a lot of experience also with the marketing funnel. That I wanted to dig deeper a little bit. What it selfishly as a one person marketing department, what is the best way for a one person B2B marketer to create awareness? with potential customers.
Yeah, absolutely. Once again, jumping into those conversations, being genuine. Okay. We all can we all can tell when someone is being genuine and when someone is just in there just because. So, and that takes time. Okay. That
Yep.
takes time to build that trust. And those efforts are important. That awareness, and hopefully in the marketing department, that awareness that it will take some time to build that trust is built in, and you have that support from your head of marketing, but also across the line into sales, into customer success, because those conversations don't come necessarily just from marketing, also your sales folks, your AEs, your BDRs, and then additionally, your customer success, even product area. So that clarity is important in terms of messaging when someone is communicating and having those conversations. So most certainly that awareness and that consistency of message is important.
And then we'll just go down the marketing funnel. Next spot is usually interest. How can marketers create interest in a company after they made a potential prospect aware of a product? Is there a certain way someone should go about?
So I mentioned a little bit earlier, as far as marketers, it's so important to sit with your AEs, your BDRs, and see what the questions are coming at. What are the challenges? What are these potential customers and clients facing? So that as marketers, you can fully understand those challenges and address those. That's a genuine conversation.
Yep.
Taking a guess at what might be the problem, that's where you kind of end up in that, take a left turn when you should have taken a right. Not that can't be addressed, but it is a constant, effort to sit in, you know, be in lockstep with your sales team, with your product team, with your CS team. These conversations are very important, and that consistency in that communication within the company is going to show, and it's going to also benefit the customer hugely as they walk through that customer journey.
Yeah, and while I'm sitting in there with the sales team, right, it takes me to the next point where I would have said, how can marketers help sales team convert prospects? But if I'm sitting there, I kind of know their pain points, and I kind of
Yes.
know what they may need in order to get them across the finish line, whether it's a blog post I drafted, a case study I did, right, and share it with the sales team to share with the prospective customers to give that additional value.
Absolutely. And that consistent communication. So when you have those campaigns running, when you have those efforts running, making sure that there is communication. Sometimes it may be even on a daily basis, maybe just a couple of minutes, maybe just an email, some kind of communication and conversation, maybe a quick video clip just to say, this is what we're looking at. This is the messaging. This is what is important. And making sure that communication, that understanding is there across the board. And that helps the customer journey out tremendously, and the quality of that customer journey.
And as my short time tenure as being a marketer in the higher ed industry tech space, I've noticed, I've never heard of customer success teams before. I've never heard of that in a law firm, but here in tech, it's pretty common.
Huge.
Yeah. And what makes a loyal customer come back time and time again and refers other people to your company? What do you
Oh
think?
gosh. Yeah, I mean, it is huge. It is that entire journey, and marketing is such a massive part of that. They are so customer success, hugely important, and that's why it's important that's why marketers need to consistently communicate across those areas within the company. Customer success will be able to communicate also those problems back, because once you have that sale, well, what happens after that? What are those problems? So even after implementation, what happens after that? What are those additional questions and pain points and challenges that they're having? So marketers need to be aware of those as well, and help assist in terms of communication. And that will ultimately continue that, I would say, goodwill. And in terms of, especially if you have an enterprise deal, for instance, if you're in that enterprise deal and you have your tool in that particular company, well, if, word of mouth spreads that these guys are on it, these folks are on it, they helped us, we ended up in this bad spot, they were on it and they helped us through it and they worked until it was done and solid and we were comfortable, that will get around a company. And think about it today also, in terms of how long employees are staying at companies. Okay. So it may not be just that company. They will take that good word of what you and your company did and take it to their next company because they want to be comfortable with who they're spending all of that money on, right? And all of that time. So if you can help them out to that extent, it will pay off tenfold down the line.
Yeah, it's like the saying goes, people forget what you did and what you said, but they never forget how you made them feel, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very good point. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Two more questions.
Sure.
What is one important lesson that you have learned over the course of your marketing career?
Oh, wow. Okay. Let's see. Hmm. Always be learning,
Always be
without a doubt. Um, I have learned something from every single person I've worked with. And marketing leaders are challenged these days to bring so many different aspects of, folks together. And the successful marketing leaders who do that, their teams are just phenomenal. So, and I see a consistent thread within those teams, and that is that they are all open to learning from each other, from folks outside of, even outside of marketing, as I mentioned before, even within their own companies. So, absolutely, always be open to learning.
Okay. I see there's some books on your bookshelf back there. Do you have one or two books you would recommend a marketer if he wants to or she wants to grow in her career?
So definitely, I would be remiss if I didn't say, my actually, I have the pleasure of working for Sangha Vajre, and his book is right up there. Move. I've had that up there for wow for a long time. I actually did not just put it up there for this interview. It is something that is important for marketers to understand in terms of career progression. If you're looking at, making that next move, that next role, that next step, internally or externally, understanding go to market is massive, huge in that respect. So that's definitely one of the books that I would recommend. The fundamentals, most definitely. You're talking your ABM, all of that in terms of what marketing is and how you can best focus on those particular client areas and clients and really focus those efforts, that as well. But definitely go to market. Folks should hop on that absolutely and understand fully go to market.
Very good, very good. One last question, which I
Sure.
always ask at the end. Who do you think I should interview next?
Oh, goodness. I was looking at your other videos. And so what I wanted to do is turn that back to you and say, who do you need? Because I noticed that you have podcasts already, demand gen, other areas. Is there someone specific or are there specific areas that you were looking for in terms of folks to interview? And I fortunately, since community manager for a marketing community, I have spoken to a lot of marketing leaders, and I'm happy to connect you with
Yeah.
um,
I went on
someone.
the Peak Community website and I noticed one of my connections, Nick Bennett, is on there as well.
Nick, love Nick,
I
love
follow
Nick.
him and I actually got one of his hats, the Haters Hate, Creators Create. And I find him
He's
very
great.
interesting. So I would love to talk to him, but he
Okay.
seems to have a big following. I don't know if he'd be open to that.
Well, you know what? We can certainly ask.
Awesome.
So yeah, let's put Nick at the top of that list then.
Great.
Absolutely.
Awesome. I really appreciate you, Terry. Thanks so much for
Uh,
connecting up. Also, take you up on that offer of talking about higher ed marketing a little bit more. In
yeah.
the future, the plan is to have 53 interviews in 2023, so one a week.
Okay.
Um,
All
so,
right.
but maybe we'll go on, after 2023.
Okay, well, that sounds great. And Chris, thank you so much. It was a real pleasure. I had a fun time talking with you and finding out, how things are going with you. And then of course at Hannon Hill. So this was great. Hey, listen, absolutely. Anything I can do to help you out, just please do feel free to reach out. Okay.
Awesome. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. And welcome to Atlanta.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care.